coming at you live here from Geneva. I wanted to pop in and share this tool that I love using, as well as I teach it to my clients. I teach it in my program, Divinely Design Your Life, as a way to help us move through triggers. So all of us get triggered, and I want you to know that there is nothing, particularly wrong with you or anything like that. It's part of the human experience. We all have our own wounding, our own sensitive spots. And so, whether it's an Instagram post, an email you receive, whether it's a relationship in your life, whether it's the current circumstance of your life, there are things that rub against places where we're wounded that cause us to feel triggered. And what happens when we're feeling triggered is that we essentially detour into fear, right? We detour into worry, we detour into anxiety. You'll notice that sometimes when you're triggered, your heart rate is racing a bit. You don't feel good. Like, I don't know anybody that feels like great when they're triggered. And it can be a real detriment to our lives for a few things. So, on the one hand, when we're triggered, what's actually happening is our nervous system is going into fight or flight. So there's something about whatever it was that triggered you that is making you feel, on the very fundamental evolutionary level, unsafe. You don't feel safe. And so your body is now exercising all of its, safety mechanisms. It's on high alert, right? It's using a lot of energy, which is sometimes after you come down from a trigger, you feel very exhausted, right? Because it's using all of its resources to protect you from the impending doom, right? But the difference is that most of us, when we're getting triggered right now, there's not a gun to our head. There's not, a lion chasing us in the jungle. There's not like a cliff we're about to jump off, right? It's things like emails, it's things like seeing a social media post, it's things like getting a weird text from someone, or maybe even getting into an argument with a family member or a loved one or whatever, right? Where there's no actual physical harm, and yet our nervous system reacts that way. And so this is really helpful, so that when those triggers arise, to help calm our nervous system, regain clarity of our mind so we can move through our trigger, and help teach our nervous system that it's okay to see something on social media that you don't like and still feel safe. It's okay to receive that email that maybe you don't like and still feel safe. It's okay to have a disagreement with someone and still feel safe on a fundamental level. So the first thing you do is just crisscross applesauce your hands. And then you're going to start tapping, alternate tapping. I'm going to try to, lower this a little bit so you can see there we go. So I call this the butterfly, and just kind of be doing this motion along with me. And what this is doing, it's bilateral stimulation. So similarly, if you've ever gotten really angry and you've gone on a walk, you notice that sometimes a walk really calms you down. It's the bilateral stimulation. Because when you're walking, you're going like that. What that's doing is helping your brain process by alternating the sides of the brain that you're utilizing. So that's what we're doing here with the butterfly. And you can just take a few nice deep breaths as you're doing this. And when you're doing this, we're not running from the feeling. We're actually going into the feeling. So if you're triggered about something in particular, you bring those feelings up. You allow yourself to be with whatever it is that is triggering you in this moment. And continually butterfly and breathe as you're sitting with that. Because what you're doing in that moment is you're helping your brain process this. Let's just say you see somebody's Instagram and it triggers you about something, right? It's helping your brain process that incident and come back to a grounded safety around it, that everything is actually okay. So you want to look at, feel those feelings and, bring up that image of whatever it is that's triggering you. Breathe and butterfly through it. And I like to repeat the words in my head. I'm safe. I'm okay. Or it's going to be okay. I'm safe. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And you'll notice I'm yawning a little bit. And when you're moving a lot of energy in this exercise out of your body, you will start to yawn, because what's happening is that your nervous system is shifting. It's shifting from your fight or flight nervous system into the rest and digest nervous system. And therefore, you're going to be moving a lot of energy. So you can keep on doing this until you start feeling that. You will start feeling that energetic shift where you no longer feel that heightened, alert state. You get down to that more calm and grounded state, and you can move on with your day, and you can trust that everything is going to be okay and you're fine, and get back on track and get back on your path. And the beautiful thing about this very simple exercise, that I love so much, is that not only is it helping you move through that trigger in that moment, but what you're also doing is you're actually training your brain so that when that trigger comes up again, it's going to react less. And the more you do this, let's say you always get triggered when a certain person posts on Instagram or whatnot. I'm just going to use that example. Or maybe you always get triggered when a certain relative calls you, right? You have a family member, and every time you get off the phone with them, you feel a little triggered. So you hang up the phone and you butterfly and you breathe through it. What happens is, as you do this, right, and you experience the trigger, you process it, you experience the trigger, you process it, you experience the trigger, you process it, it starts to trigger you less and less and less, because you're actually building new neural pathways. You're teaching your nervous system that doesn't need to be triggered by that anymore, right? If you're someone that, is reactionary to an email, right? Maybe you get a customer complaint email or something, right? In that moment, before you answer, before you do anything, doing a butterfly, breathing through it, remembering that you're safe. The more you do that, then, you won't be as fazed by those emails anymore, because you have correctly processed it. So that's just a little taste of bilateral stimulation and how you can use it to calm down your nervous system if you're triggered. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments below if this is helpful, if you've used it before, if you are one of my current clients or my Divinely Design Your Life process members who have done more extensive work with this. Please feel free to drop a comment below, and definitely keep following along for more videos. And if you have any suggestions for meditations, tapping, or questions you want me to answer, I'm here for you. So thanks for tuning in.